What's good, good people? Best Let's Talk. Hope y'all good out there. Hope y'all having a good week. Hope y'all having a great week, man. Hey, before we get started, please click that like, share, and subscribe, man. Hey, man, I want to share something with you guys. I want to know what you think. What are your thoughts on this? Let's share my screen real quick. Many U.S. veterans land behind bars. A unique law may change that. It is a critical time to turn the tides for millions of post 9/11 veterans, advocates say, as many struggle to put the Iraq and Afghanistan war behind them. And that's important to remember that what was in front of them and what they were trained to do. Now, this law is supposed to set, it's going to take place in Minnesota. From what I have researched, I don't know if it's going to take place in other states, but this is supposed to take place in Minnesota. Tony Miller killed countless enemy forces while deployed in Iraq, where his army unit captured so many high-value targets that they received Valor Award. Violence was good. Hey, I'm gonna repeat that. Violence was good. Said Miller, a paratrooper who was sent back to Iraq 17 days after returning home from his first deployment. Violence was rewarded. I'm going to say this again. Violence was rewarded. But once he left the military in 2018, Miller's aggression was no longer an asset, and he was consumed by anger, exacerbated by untreated post traumatic stress disorder. He was charged with second-degree assault with a firearm in 2014 and convicted soon after of felony drug possession, the consequences of which threatened to permanently derail any chance he had of resuming a productive life as a civilian. In an alarming statistic, roughly one third of U.S. military veterans say they have been arrested and jailed at least once in their lives, compared to fewer than one fifth of civilians. A report released last month by City Council on Criminal Justice found the nonpartisan think tank cited service related trauma, including PTSD and substance abuse issues, as some of the driving factors. Now, this has been an ongoing issue since this war started. I'm gonna say any war that, by that matter, once you feed aggression into something, the aggression is kind of hard to go away. Now, this law may help a lot of people get back to some normal place of living. I think it'll be good for a lot. It depends on the crime. Now, listen to me now. Being one that's on that side of combat and been through combat and done things, I understand the aggression that goes behind that, but not everybody handles things the same way. I think that's one thing a lot of people have to understand. I mean, if you train to play football or you train to lift weights, this is what your mind is set to do. Now, if I sit back, I train as a combat or anything you do. This is how your mind is fixed. This is what you want to do. Now, you place an individual in a violent area for a year and then turn around 17 days later, send this individual back to work. What type of individual do you think that you're going to deal with and think that he's going to be a productive citizen? He was rewarded, and people are rewarded for certain acts. Now you're defending your country. I love it because this is some things that you have to do because there's not many people that's going to raise their hand and sit back and say, I'm going to fight for the rights of the United States citizen, a patriot. That's pretty much who you are, who we are, who I am. I love my country. I'm not going to sit back and sugarcoat it just because I'm not going to bring that up. But this is the individual that you, a lot of people, not you per se, but a lot of people will become. You train a person for a year and a half, basic training, AIT. Then you come back, he's in the field on and off, and then you go to war, and then you encounter that first incident. That maybe that second or third incident may change your mindset. It might take you to somewhere. It was the second one for me. It may change your mindset. And your mind goes to other places. You become numb to a lot of things, and you don't really accept a lot of things that go on once you become a civilian. I'm saying that for a reason. I don't condone. I do not condone violence by any means necessary. I don't. But if this is a problem and they're talking about taking away certain laws, would that help the individuals that get arrested for certain things? Would that help a person with PTSD? Would that help their trauma? Would that help get rid of it? Yes, it'll change the mindset of, oh, maybe I can be a normal because I don't have this criminal record behind me. Now I do know individuals that have a criminal record and they can't really hold a job because of what they have done. And it was mainly due to the things that took place with them. They're totally different people from where they started and after the situation that take place as far as the trauma, the event. This may help a lot of people. Now, it just to me, it just depends on the crime, how violent the crime was, or how bad it was. Now, there has to be certain things in place for them. Like, hey, I need you to for you to show me that you're seeking help. Now that probably is in place for a lot of states. But what are some things that you think would help change the mind outside of therapy? Because therapy doesn't help everybody. Medication doesn't help everybody. Like what are some things that you think? Like on my last interview, he said working out. I say working out too. That kind of gets rid of a lot of pent up energy inside of you. It's a driving force. It kind of puts the stress on you. It's like the mission. You need a mission for the day. That for me. That's one of them. That's one of them. Completing something like that's to me. I completed this today, so my mission is set. So I have to go on to the next task. What's next in my day? Every day you have to find something that's gonna hook you and keep you right. Like when I say hook, it's gonna give you something to drive for, a purpose, even though it may not seem favorable at the moment. Yeah, things are not really set in stone, but believing that things will change with you and where you're going in life is a mission every single day. And not just for people with PTSD. Like clinging on to something is very important, having a purpose. A lot of people sit back and say, what is my purpose? Like, hey, trying to find that purpose outside of hanging out, drinking, and doing drugs should be the purpose. What should I do? Who must I become? Shouldn't that be a driving force within itself? Not being depressed about it. Not everybody deals with things different. And like at a certain age, that can be very depressing, not knowing your calling. And a lot of people really don't. So let's sit down and with the notepad, jot it down. We in October. It's the first of the year coming up. So we set those goals in hand. I know I probably got off topic, but I want to know what you guys think about this new law coming out because they were supposed to get rid of some of the things that took place with this individual and individuals like us. I was never arrested, but there's a lot of things that's pent up in me and many people like me. What type of training should an individual have in place during service after war? Now I'm a little bit outdated. I don't know what they have in place because I got out probably 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 years ago. I don't want to speak my age. I'm in my 40s. I don't know. There's probably something in place for individuals coming out of the war zone outside of therapy or that therapy before going downrange. There's probably something in place. We never really had that in place going to Iraq and Afghanistan back in the '05, '06, '08. Not that I can remember. I don't remember going into therapy before going to a war zone. I don't remember. I don't. But anyway, I'm gonna read this quote. They gave Pandora a box. Prometheus begged her not to open it. She opened it. Every evil to which human flesh is heir came out of it. You can't really have an expectation of something once you open it up. Once it's open, it's there. You train an individual to be a certain way. Everybody's minds are different and everybody handles things in different ways. Some people may commit the act of taking their own life. Some people's aggression comes out on other people. Some people go to drug abuse, alcohol. Some people just stick themselves in a hole and don't want to be bothered ever. Isolate themselves. It's different for everybody. So you can't necessarily sit back and say this person was absolutely wrong with how he handled what he handled, what he did. So it's subjective. By law, yes, the things that this man has done, but how he was trained, how his mind was geared, he was built and made to react to a situation. And that's what he did. He reacted. Everything he done, he coped. He had drug charges. So that was his way of coping. That was his way of burying the traumatic event for a lot of people. And I was supposed to cut this off. I'm sorry. I'm just talking now. Like alcohol was one of the things that I went to. But this was one of the ways he did it was drugs. They say he was arrested for drugs. So I'm pretty sure he was a hey, hey man. If there's an individual you can talk to before something happens, if you have that person in your corner, please have a conversation with that individual. If you have the chance of walking away, please do that. I understand being pissed off. I do. I understand that aggression also well. But what ways do you think you can channel what's going on with you when you have those moments or get that energy out of you? Outside of drugs and alcohol, what is the other ways that you think that you can cope with things? I'm just leaving you guys with a little something, just asking questions. What are some things do you think you can cope with things that go on in your mind? Suicide is not the answer. Violence is not the answer. Substance abuse is not the answer. We all deal with things different. I'm going to continue to say that. Not judging nobody, just trying to do my part by helping. Hey, let's talk, man. I need somebody to get on here and talk to. Y'all gonna see my next guest here soon. Later. Appreciate you guys for listening.